We are live. Welcome, welcome.
I'm so excited. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for coming on my podcast. So, what's your story? Can you start off with letting people know what your name is and kind of what you do business wise?
Yes, absolutely. My name is Miss LATOYA Lawrence. I am newly married and I
Congrats.
am a serial entrepreneur. So I am a mindset expert. I do coaching and mentoring for women and young girls. And I also own a childcare business. And my new current project I'm working on is my new life community center. So.
So if anybody wanted to get a hold of you, how would they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me via Instagram and via Facebook. I am on Facebook under LATOYA Lawrence and LATOYA_Lawrence on Instagram.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you for that information. So let's get into it. Tell me about how you grew up. Like, did you grow up in a single parent home? Were both your parents in the home, or were you raised by someone totally different?
Well, I was raised in a single parent home. I was raised by my mother, Pam, and with the help of my father parents. My father was on drugs for majority of all my life. He's off now, thank God. But growing up, he was, in and out of jail and things like that. So I was in a single parent home. My mom worked and took care of me. And like I said, with the help of my grandparents. So I grew up, I was born and raised in New York City. Brooklyn, New York was where I was born and raised. And then we transitioned here to Delaware when I was in the fifth grade. So
Okay, okay. So would you say that you grew up in Delaware or that you grew up
I
in
would have to say it's a joke. It's so funny. My aunt would always say, God rest her soul. She was like, Toya, you've been in Delaware longer than you've been in New York. So I would have to say I was born in New York, but I was raised in Delaware.
Okay, okay, cool. Did you have any siblings growing up?
So I am the only living sibling from my mother, and I have a little brother that is 10 years younger than me on my father's side.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, so growing up, would you say that you grew up impoverished, middle class, or you kind of didn't know?
I would have to say I didn't know because I was the only child for 10 years. So pretty much I had everything, that I needed and wanted growing up. So, but as I got older,
And
you hear
hindsight.
stories and like, oh, okay, I didn't know, y'all covered that up a little bit. So I have to say I didn't know. So that's the I would always joke with my mom and say, growing up, the only thing I didn't have was a power wheel. So
Right, right, right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So tell me what makes you happy in life.
What makes me happy in life is just helping others. I have two children. I have a 18-year-old son and I have a 16-year-old daughter biologically, and then my bonus daughter is 16 as well. So my children, of course, makes me happy, but I am such a big giver. I love helping people. I love giving back and things like that. Like that really makes my heart smile.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have in life, what would you say your biggest struggle has been thus far?
Mm, my biggest struggle thus far, I would have to say I was a teenage mom. So I had my son, I got pregnant my junior year summer, and I had my son 12th grade year. So I graduated in June and I had my son in April of my 12th grade year. So my struggle pretty much was not being able to go to the college that, I got accepted to and things like that.
Mm.
And just, raising him. I had to work two and three jobs, at a time, just to make ends meet and things like that. I had help. from my mother, but she like, that's your baby, so
Yeah.
she was definitely there and did what she was able to do. But and then 2.5 years later, I had my daughter. So, just being a mom, having to sacrifice life, you want to buy bags and shoes, and you had to buy, Pampers and wipes for the kids. So,
Right.
yeah.
So, what would you tell your younger self if you was to give your younger self some advice?
Oh, that's so good. How much time do I have?
You have the floor.
How? I would definitely tell my younger self is be wise. Listen to the older people. Like the older people knew and know exactly what they was talking about. Growing up, I would definitely say stay in the books. College is not for everybody, but I would definitely tell my younger people to learn something, learn a trade, you know, do right by your money, manage your money, do right with your credit and things like that. So that's what I would definitely tell my younger self.
So, raising your kids, um, did you have any struggles with that? Like as far as parenting style goes?
Yes. So my son and I we pretty much grew up with each other.
Yeah.
And I struggled with my son with um he had a thing about listening to women. Like he wasn't diagnosed with like, no mental health challenges or anything, but it was ODD that they gave him, diagnosed him with when because I'm like, it got to be something wrong with this kid. Like he need a half a pill or something. But what it was, he didn't like taking instructions from females. When he was in school, a lot of teachers are females. There's not a lot of male, instructors and things like that. But he would listen to his coaches and things like that. But when it came to, me parenting him and he didn't want to listen and, he just wanted to do what he wanted to do. And it was like really challenging. And for many years, and, this is me and my son's testimony, like for many years, I did not like my son. I
Mhm.
loved him. I raised him. I took care of him, but I didn't like him until I'm gonna say like seventh, eighth grade. Like he did a whole 360 and life changed. But with him growing up, we had been through some ups and downs, but now, we have the best relationship ever. And he's an honor roll student in college. He's going into his sophomore year as a quarterback. So yeah.
So, during that time, did you feel like you had a support system, like in the village, any aunties or
I
anybody?
did. I had a lot of support. My aunt, my mom is definitely a praying grandmom. Like she stayed, praying and things like that for us. And I had my aunts and then like my real close friends. They were very helpful. I had, a lot of men from the church that, try to mentor him, help him out and things like that. So yes.
Okay, awesome. Um, is it anything that your mother instilled in you that you still live to this day, like that keeps you going?
Yes. My mom was definitely a go get like my mom worked. She only worked one job, but I mean, she worked day, all the time. And she just always made sure she provided for me and always instilled in me like, be loving, be real, mindful to people and, be caring and things like that. So I think growing up, my mom was a hugger, and she always wanted to, feel loved and things like that. So, and that definitely instilled in me to this day.
Awesome. So what's your ethnic background?
Yeah. So we are pretty much what? I don't know. It's a lot of me and it's a lot of stuff in
Okay, can you
my
name?
girl. my grandmom and them, it's some Italian. I don't, I'm black child.
Shit. Not
Oh,
that I'm black. I'm black.
okay, like I don't know. I know my grandmom and them is Cherokee and Italian and all that.
Okay, okay. What's your favorite food?
My favorite food is seafood. I love all seafood.
Seafood, okay. And your favorite music genre?
Um, I would definitely have to say like old school R&B and things like that.
Okay, okay.
Like,
Um,
excuse me.
how did you know that your husband was the one?
I knew my husband was the one. My husband, he's the owner operator. We own tractor trailers and things like that. And when we started dating, we had to talk on the phone because he was over the road and we communicated all the time and like just conversation after conversation. And it's just like, oh, this man got some sense. And like we had the same goals and things like that in life. So um when I knew it was him, it was a conversation we had when we was in Mexico. And it was a conversation. We were sitting on the couch and the conversation that we had, it was like, oh yeah, this the one. And so I text my best friend. I was like, oh yeah, I like Dave. I like
That's amazing. So if you were to tell people what you want your legacy to be, can you describe what you would want people to say about you?
I will definitely want my legacy to be that I was fun, that I was loving. I always gave back. I always, had a helping hand. My mom calls me Olivia because she was like, "You just want to help the world," and that's just really who I am. Because my motto pretty much is, um, if you don't have it, I don't have it. We're gonna get it together. You see
Mm,
what I'm saying? So
oh, I like that.
yeah.
If you were to travel to a place that you've never been, where would you travel to if all expenses were paid for?
I really want to go to Japan.
Okay, okay, Japan. You must like Japanese food.
I do like Japanese food.
Me too. All right. Can you give some words of wisdom? Say somebody's down and you know, they're thinking about ending their life. What advice would you give them?
My advice would definitely be no matter your current or past situation, somebody else situation is worse than yours.
Mhm.
And I always encourage people and I try to encourage people because we all wear our makeup and we dress up and just because one person look all bedazzled and things like that, that might be the person that's going through the worst thing in the room.
Right. Yep. That's very true. So if we're going to end this off on a good note,
Mhm.
can you give the audience a quote that you live by that keeps you going?
um Pretty much like what I just said, like what we don't have, what I mean? If you don't have it, I don't have it. We're gonna definitely get it together. So that's really one of my mottos I live by and I live by daily. Um, and also I would have to say, hmm, live, love, and be happy.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Live, love, and be happy.
All right. So thank you again for coming on. I definitely enjoyed hearing your story. How can people get a hold of you again?
If you would like to get in contact with me, I am on Facebook as LATOYA Lawrence and on Instagram, LATOYA_Lawrence.
Nice. Thanks again. Have a good one.